Heyo, heyo. I suspect the brief route explanation I did in the prologue video didn't quite cut it. So I'm making this an in-depth explanation of the entire route and some of the pivotal moments for you to focus on. This whole series is meant to be a tutorial, or guide if you will, for newer EU4 speedrunners or runners that want to dive into the long real-time speedruns. My focus has therefore been not to make the route too hard execution-wise, but still interesting enough that we have some meat and some tricks here and there for you to execute. In other words, I think that any experienced EU4 player can do this route no problem and get a decent time. With that out of the way, let's get started. First off, we have some starting conditions, so things that must be true on the 11th of November in 1444. 1. We play on patch 130. I know patch 131 is coming up, but yeah, I don't think the Leviathan is going to change that much to this route. Won't influence too much in Europe, so no panic. Second, we play with all DLCs enabled. Third, we play as Aragon, or start as Aragon. Reason for this is their good starting position, our ability to no CB bis from the get-go, and the ideal position we get for Iberian Wedding and Burgundian Inheritance, which gives us a lot of free land, and of course the PU over Naples. Fourth, Burgundy must start friendly. We must ally them on day one and royal marriage and all that fun stuff. Preferably they have rivaled both France and Austria too, or Austria, the emperor of the HRE, but that is not a must. The friendly stuff is a must. And that's it. Now we can start on the route part of this explanation video. From here on out, the route is more of a tree structure than linearly. That's also why you're going to see me skip some of my splits while on a run. From time to time, I'll be taking different routes, or maybe they will be fulfilled in a different order. That's no reason to panic, that's just how the game is as a speedrun. Therefore, I'll start by presenting my route in its tree structure, and after that, I'll present it in chronological order. So, it's like an EU4 mission tree. One sec. So, we have 5 initial mission branches. Many of them merge along the way, but initially there are 5. That's the first one, focusing on crippling the Ottomans and conquering Balkans and Anatolia. That's the second one, which is the Burgundian Inheritance. Third one is the Iberian Wedding plus. The fourth one is French Conquest and some achievable missions as Aragon, and the fourth one is the sardinia-piedmont mission branch thing. So let's take them one branch at a time and piece them all together in the end. First off, crippling and conquering Ottomans. Our first mission here is to vassalize Placentium. This is to prevent Ottomans from doing the same thing and thereby getting unnecessarily big. We can guarantee, and actually more likely than not, damage them so much that they will get attacked from all fronts, thus resulting in a tiny Ottoman nation who we in turn can vassalize later. Unfortunately, there's no way for us to get a claim on Byzantium this early, but conquer them we must, so we no CB them from the get-go. This war should be rather trivial, but it's the war to come that's dangerous. So we hire some mercs, preferably around 10 to 12k, and preferably with good generals. We want one with a high siege pip and one that is a good battle general. We also start constructing a navy that can beat the Otto navy. That's about 2 heavies, that should be it. I tend to build the second heavy as a flagship just to get the free siege pip just in case. Then we do our usual dance and vassalized Mr. Biss. After the conquest, we gather all our troops and boats in Athens. This way, Ottomans are not threatened by us and will likely mothball their forts in Selanik, Gallipoli, or however that's pronounced, and Kocheli. On the first of the month, we dow Otto and quickly siege down Selanik and Gallipoli. We get our navy to blockade the strait so Ottomans won't be able to reinforce. Now we just need to kill the Ottoman troops in Balkans, where they are likely to have 2 stacks, around 16k each, so that's a bit problematic. If you can, try to fight them separately and do tricks to ensure stack wipes. Now Balkans is all yours, and you can either wait for the ticking war score and peace out for many provinces, or peace out straight away, but for less. It's your call. If you don't wait, that just means you'll have one more war against Otto later. But it's the weaker Otto, so you can 100% them. It's your call. I tend to wait it out and retake all of Biss's cores and take Constantine to fabricate a claim on Serbia and release Bulgaria. At some point, maybe 20, 30 years down the road, a bunch of stuff not relevant to this branch has happened. And the truce with Ottomans is up. Oh, yeah. In the meantime, you should probably have started to eat some of the Balkan miners. Sorry, forgot about them. They're pretty trivial wars, so you'll figure it out. Minor warning though, don't forget about them. Or else those pesky Polish flying horsemen will take anything they can and you have to fight very, very long and very boring wars in the end against swarms of winged hussars. Which is slow, and way slower than just taking them now. And harder. Way harder. Anyway, this war is pretty much the same deal as last time. If you have powerful allies, you can call them in and conquer everything. If not, you are strong enough. You're not strong enough to beat Otto alone, but you can occupy all of Balkans and force their troops to stay on the Anatolian side. Here we take back all of Bulgaria. Another 20 or 30 years down the line, and it's time to dive into Anatolia. At this point, the Ottomans are likely beaten down quite heavily by us. Yay. Mamluks, in some instances, even Karaman and Kandar. Here we just take whatever we can and give it to Biss. And eventually we get to the point where we can vassalize Ottomans or seize some land from Biss and release them from that land. And then from then on we can just reconquer all the land that Ottomans lost practically for free. More likely than not, this will be our first encounter with the Mamluks. Just beat them up, take back some Otto cores and one province in Syria. Release Syria, so you once again can use that juicy reconquest casus belli on Mamluks in another 20 to 30 years. Now we just clean up Levant, Mashriq and the rest of Anatolia, and this branch is all done and dusted. The second branch, the Burgundian inheritance. This one is shorter, I promise. Now we start with Mr. Burgundy friendly. That's good. Ally him. Royal marriage him. Improve relations with him. All the good stuff. At some point, likely very early on, Philip will die and hopefully Charles takes over without an heir. This is very good and the condition for the Burgundian inheritance to happen in the first place. If this is the case, we can start helping our friend and future union by joining his offensive wars or giving him a lot of provinces in separate peace deals. Our focus should be to give him such lands as Savoy, him some lands in Barrois and Lorraine, some Swiss lands, and maybe most importantly, give him Paris. It is unlikely that you have time to give them everything, because we're working on a clock here. When Charles dies, boom, the Burgundian inheritance will happen. No meantime to happen. It will just straight up happen when he dies. When it happens, Marie of Burgundy has 40 years to die. And when that happens, you will inherit it all for free. And more importantly, you will inherit it without any aggressive expansion. And that's it for this branch. Our third branch is the Iberian Wedding Plus, and this is probably the most straightforward branch. Any EU4 player on any level should know this and should know how to do this. You get the Iberian Wedding when your and Castile's ruler are of opposite sexes. Regencies also have a chance, and queen consorts counts as opposite sex. Luckily, we have an old ruler who likely will die within the first years of the game. So we disinherit our heir and hope a new one pops up before the death of Alphonse. If we're lucky, we'll get the Iberian Wedding even before our first war with the Ottomans, but definitely before the first war against France, which is a huge boost and saves a bit on our economy. We follow our mission tree and force a union over Portugal. No new tricks here. That's it. That's pretty straightforward. And the fourth mission branch is the French Conquest and some Aragonese missions. So we want to attack Mr. France, and we want to call in Burgundy, so we can give him a lot of juicy provinces, or honestly, just Paris. But you never know how much he wants to grab, and you know, the more, the merrier. With your army and potential mercs, Castile's army, maybe even Portugal's army, and Burgundy's army, plus his subjects' army, you are more than capable of killing the France vassal swarm. It's not hard at all. Most likely your alliance's army will be around twice as big as France's, so no biggie. Kill them, take Narbonnais and Toulouse for yourself, a bunch of money, and give Reims and Paris to Burgundy if they want it. Now release Gascony first, then Toulouse, and you have a lot of juicy reconquest to do in France. Kill them and reconquer all of Toulouse, and consider whether you want to take Gascon provinces, reconquer the Gascon provinces, or if you want to take Dauphiné, Lyon, Forêt, and Auvergne, who you need in the Sardinia-Piedmontese missions later. You get another jab at France before that point, so your choice should depend on aggressive expansion and how you've handled that so far. Now, what we'll do after France fun is forming another nation with another mission tree. So we should quickly round up what we find necessary in the Aragonese mission tree and get on with it. And now the fifth branch and most important branch. In this branch we focus on the future formation of a new nation, Sardinia-Piedmont. We want to form this nation for three separate reasons. The first one being we get a restoration of Union CB over France. That's good. We get a permanent admin efficiency of plus 5%. That's really good. And we get a permanent diplomatic annexation cost of minus 10%. That's excellent. But to form Sardinia-Piedmont, you must have a primary culture of Piedmontese or Sardinian. And we luckily start with 3 provinces of Sardinian culture. Perfect. Now that isn't a lot. And we could consider dev pushing and unstating to temporarily get them above 50% culture. I, however, choose to culture convert my land. This sacrifices around 400 to 500 dip, but in return, it gives you Sardinian primary culture for no really big expenses other than that. And I find that the time it's saved for not managing bad economy saves you a lot. This also means we will not be stating any new provinces before we flip main culture, but that fits quite well with our vassal-based playstyle, so no biggie. To actually form Sardinia-Piedmont, we also need to conquer some land. First, we take the provincial provinces, which aren't really a prerequisite to form Sardinia-Piedmont as much as we just want the land. And it has other purposes later. We also take Ligurian provinces and then 3 additional cores in the Piedmontese area. One of them have to be Turin. And then we can form our good Sardinia-Piedmont. This nation is very good, or its mission tree is very good. Also, its national idea makes it sort of an Italy but less. Italy Minor, which I guess fits history very well. If, and only if, we got the Burgundian inheritance, we want to conquer 8 out of 10 Swiss provinces, because that's required to get the French Union. For this to happen is easier with the HRE dismantled, so this will likely be a good moment for that. When that is done, we can PU France and positively leave Western Europe behind for the rest of the run. Well, except we need Zeeland, York and London, which we should get at some point. Not important when, but it must be done at some point. Next, we need to snipe Saluzzo and Montferrat if we don't have them yet. With that, we can click all the remaining missions required to get a nice and juicy minus 10% dip annexation cost. Finally, we need to develop and build our buildings in Turin. This is to get the admin efficiency perma bonus earned via the Savoyard mission tree. Now all that's left is conquering the remaining provinces you don't have yet of Milan, Genoa, Firenze and Rome, and then form Italy. And now the secret 6th branch, the rest. You're now Italy. Yay. Conquer the rest of Italy, round up some straggler provinces and declare yourself the Oh. Yeah, you're right. Integrate all your vassals and then declare yourself the Roman Emperor. You should probably have done that along the way.